In 2002, a book written by an unknown writer hit the shelves. No one advertised it, but because of the intriguing title and limited number of copies, those who managed to find out about it strove to buy it as soon as possible. There was no picture on the cover, only a black inscription on a gray cover, the Book of Alien Blood. Opening the book right in the store after buying, immediately returned to the seller demanding a refund, since all the pages were blank. Some took the book home and were just as surprised and angry. In a year, only 3 copies were bought and not returned. It seems that the owners decided that the blank pages would also come in handy, or simply went somewhere, or gave the book to friends. In general, a few months later, there was another hype as the same book appeared, but with a filled-in first page. Now about 100 books have been sold, which have been attacked by lovers of oddities. On this filled page were written sentences in German. Although it was first published in Russia, all the sentences were numbered, and there were about 10 of them. Many people were then bothered by their acquaintances who were experts in the language. The title turned out to be telling, since all the numbered sentences were descriptions of all sorts of violent deaths. These were the standard: suffocation, bleeding from veins, drowning, and so on. At this point the written pages ended again, and then it was empty. Half a year later, the police were stirred up by terrible suicides. Not so terrible, but unusual and strange. A man knocked out his teeth and choked to death. A woman tried to drink her own blood, and so on. In the apartments of the deceased, a receipt from a bookstore was found, but the purchased Book of Alien Blood was not found. Meanwhile, other owners of the books discovered that the pages continued to be independently supplemented with new texts. The police did not believe in mysticism and began searching for the maniac. The only clue was that only customers of the bookstore where the books were sold were dying. Having learned about this, people began to try to burn the book, but, as they say, manuscripts do not burn. The book smoked. The inscription on the cover darkened, but it was impossible to destroy it. The more often the suicides occurred, the more people tried to get rid of it. A week later, the police caught the seller who was trying to flee the country. He spent about a month in prison before his cellmates beat him to death. Meanwhile, the suicides continued and became even more sophisticated. In 2010, the book was cut. Yes, a book. After one volume was taken, all the others mysteriously disappeared. Now it was almost half full. The author of this masterpiece was never found. All the pages of the book were torn out, and since it was impossible to cut, burn, or tear them, they were placed in the library, stuffed one page at a time into different editions. It seems that the sheets themselves were nothing strange, and only the indestructible texts were important. All data about it was classified, and access to that very library was restricted, so that no one would be sure to collect this book completely. The cover was placed in an iron box, which was under surveillance almost around the clock. Washington S. On April 22, 2013, the cover disappeared, as did the first 10 pages of the book, and they continue to disappear to this day. All that is known is that its last, 989th victim was a man named Sergei, whose last name was immediately classified. He pierced his throat with a switched-on drill. This fact is carefully hidden, but even the Secret Services do not know when the Book of Alien Blood will return to the shelves.